Great. It's showing us on our YouTube and our Facebook. I know, so exciting. The little wins of the day, right? I will double check that is true before we get going and move on into the broadcast. True before we get All right, I'm starting to see a few of you hopping on with us. We will get started here in one moment. So do us a huge favor if you haven't already, like us as a video, of course, like the page, but also start commenting so we see who is engaged with us and who's joining us on this snowy Wednesday morning.
It's snowy out there.
It is. It is. And the older that we get, we realize that even though there's snow days for other, we don't have that opportunity, right? And we're now into this remote world that everything is doable, even with the conditions outside. So we'll go ahead and get started because I see a couple people that are already tuning in with us. And I like to give ample time to our guests that are with us. And there's always housekeeping that I do at the start. So I'll go through that really quickly before we transition to our guest with us this morning and be able to get to know her, ask her questions, and learn along the way together. But I am Juliette Abdel, your Westminster Chamber President and CEO, and I want to thank you for tuning into the broadcast, whether it's this morning, afternoon, or evening. Whenever it fits your schedule, or if you're binge watching it on a weekend instead of Netflix, we totally appreciate that as well. You can always give us the hashtag replay if we are no longer live, so we can know that you are tuning in at a later point. And if you're live with us right now, you can comment in the chat section. That'll allow us to see who's on here. You can react to the video. And of course, we'll pull those comments and reactions and be able to give you some shout outs for spending a portion of your morning with us, really, and trying to support one another in the business environment that we are in. So if you are a returning viewer to us, I want to thank you for taking the time to be a part of our broadcast and guiding the conversations that we've had, encouraging you, of course, to hit the share button on this video so others in your network can see it and can drop what they're doing and come on over to us and tune in and engage. And if it is your very first time on our page or seeing this video, I want to encourage you to not only like this Facebook page or subscribe to the YouTube channel, whichever one you're tuning in on. And that allows you to get those alerts when we post videos or post content on our pages throughout the day or throughout the week. Now, we're on major social media platforms. So if you didn't already know, you can find us and engage with us on Twitter and Instagram at Westy Chamber, on LinkedIn, Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And just a quick plug in for us, if you've never been to our page, you're missing out. Westminsterchamber.biz has a host of resources and information to everyone. So just a quick shout out. We have Eric Gardner with us this morning. Eric, thank you for tuning in. He is giving us a good morning and, of course, wishing everyone well on a snowy day. Let us know if you are open right now, Eric. Like, are people still holding meetups at your location, or what is that looking like in your environment? We also have tuned in with us Justin. Justin, thank you for faithfully being on our broadcast over these last few weeks. Of course, giving a quick hello to Jessica and that warm welcome, and to myself. Always nice to see you. And we also have one of our board members, Parker Brown, giving us a nice good morning message. I see Emilio also tuning into the broadcast. Emilio sneaking in with a quick. Oh, and Justin is open. So if you are needing something to do with your adolescent kids, or any any younger adults, or anyone that's taking some time off, you can, of course, go and check them out over at the Bad Hatchet, because they're open today. How fun! And Parker is also open as well. So if you are looking for somewhere to dine local, then they are open today, even amidst the crazy schedule. So thank you guys for chiming in and letting me if you are open. Of course, Eric and his staff are closed because of the event environment. So thank you for taking care of your staff and your clients during this time. But this is the way that we'll engage with you, honestly, through the comment section. If you've got thoughts, if you've got questions, type them in for us. We always like to try and ask those of our guests that are on here in real time, or be able to try and direct the conversation around those. But as you know, Wednesdays are typically reserved for kind of a quick network welcome. And it's essentially welcoming one of our newer partners to our organization, to our chamber, and trying to understand who they are past just their brand, past just the company. Now, sometimes they've been members of ours for several weeks, as the case here with our guest today, but it just means that they are newer members of us, and we want to kind of give them that spotlight. Now, most of the time, we always have our recurring social events, or those types of networking activities that you can meet them in person. And as things are trying to get back to some sort of a normalcy, you'll see more of those. But in lieu of that, this is kind of taking place. And honestly, it's been the greatest way we can communicate some of the successes of these partners that we have. So, Jessica, I'm very excited to have you on this broadcast with me this morning.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I love the chamber, and it's really nice to get to reach out to everybody virtually.
Right.
We're still in a crazy world with COVID, right?
Exactly. It's a sequel. I saw this meme, and it was like 2022 is the boyfriend that you're taking for the third time, right? Like, you believed him once again. Hopefully we'll have a different ending this time around, right?
Fingers crossed.
So Jessica, you love the chamber. We love you, but I want other people to know a little bit about you. So who is Jessica? Is she a resident of Westminster, a native, has been around to claim it? Let's spill that out to everyone.
I would like to think of myself as a native, but unfortunately my parents decided to birth me somewhere else. I wish I could have changed that. So I grew up in Iowa, actually, but I've been in Colorado for 6 years now, and absolutely love it, adore it. Bought my house in Westminster in October of 2015, still own it as a rental today. And I lived and worked in Westminster for years. I actually, my background is in hotels. So I spent 10 years in the hotel industry, working at the DoubleTree in Westminster was the last hotel that I was at. Go DoubleTree. I know they're members, so we love them and their cookies. And then I went into real estate. And so for 4 years, I have been with Mile High Metro Homes based out of the Keller Williams downtown. Eric's given me some shade saying go Hawks, and I'm a diehard Cyclone fan right now, so I'm trying to ignore that comment. So I've been in real estate for 4 years now. Love it. I was actually based on a team as a buyer agent, so super familiar with first-time home buyers and people that are moving up, things like that. But also got to be involved with the sales side as well. So decided back in July to go independent, and at that time wanted to come back to the chamber. Made some moves happen, and I'm happy to be back here. So yeah, not a native to Colorado, like I said, but my heart has always been.
Right? Like you can't really control that point, like on where you got birth, but you can at least change it up once you are and once you've kind of surfaced into the world. So we're glad that you've made Colorado home, of course, Westminster home, and being able to kind of work with you throughout your different capacities. So I know you shared with folks that you've been in a hospitality industry with hotels previously and then kind of transitioning. It's honestly, I feel like it has given you a lot of those skills and the resources for the work that you're doing right now. And I don't want to cut us short because I've got like so many questions to ask you, but I see a lot of people that are starting to hop on. So I know Eric was a little bit rude with his hawk comment. I believe Parker did take a stab at him and told him to not be a slacker and get to work. So you are getting some defensive members that are supporting you in the chat, just so you see that. We also have Jasper chiming in, giving us a nice comment about Jessica, of course, that you are awesome. Thanks, Jasper, for tuning in. We also have one of our past board chairman, Brian Head, giving a quick good morning message to Jessica and myself. So thank you guys for being on here. Of course, tuning into our network. Welcome with Jessica. Jessica, you left out a crucial piece about you, and that is that you have this amazing little one, and he has been a mini volunteer of the chamber off record. So do you want to talk a little bit about your personal side, like you and your family?
Yeah. So I am a proud mama to a 2-year-old little boy that has the same golden blonde hair that I do. So that's my pride and joy. And he is the light of my life. He's just the best little thing that's ever come across the world. And yeah, he actually, Mutts and Struts, he helped stuff bags and he was loving all the dog toys. I think he wanted some for himself.
Oh my goodness. He was adorable. So glad that we were able to connect with him. And I love that you weave in a lot of your family into even your work life as well. I think naturally just us being women, sometimes it's expected it's one or the other. And I'm all about we can be this and that, and where can we empower one another to coalesce our lives because they have a huge impact on one another. And we don't have to separate them both.
Absolutely.
So where it makes sense, of course. But anyway, so I loved that you bought him out and he supported us and everything. But so now you're in real estate. This is something that you've been doing for a little while. So how long have you been in the industry now, and what were some expectations going into it?
Yeah, so been in the industry 4 years. Actually, just celebrated my 4-year anniversary last month. So really excited to be back for year 4. Expectations that I had, I mean, I guess leaving the hotel world, hotels are fabulous, and there was a lot of great opportunities there. I had a wonderful time. I didn't like the negative customer service, so getting yelled at was a positive aspect. So I had the expectation going into real estate that I wouldn't have that, and I haven't so far. So it's been really wonderful helping people just find homes and sell homes and reach their real estate goals and not be yelled at for things that aren't my fault.
I bet that does have that tears at you eventually. Like people don't realize how much any comment really affects someone and their overall well-being, and being in service, you get a lot of that. But even outside of it, really, there's a lot of indicators around that. So I'm glad you shared and opened up about it. I can't believe it's been 4 years. So congrats to you on 4 years in that industry. It seems like it was just recent that transition happened. So some people have ideas about realtors or kind of the real estate market, and what are I'm going to ask you like a few pointed ones and kind of go from there. But there, right? Like so this is a question. It's like completely random and not even related to debunking. But some people have talked about receiving phone calls from realtors about, hey, you should put your home up for sale, etc. Who are those? Are these local realtors that are generally doing this? Is this like national companies that are going in, or what's going on with that? Because I know that a couple of people that are even on here have been like, I had to like slam the door or hang up whenever I got that call.
So that's a great question. And I get those phone calls as well. And I like to say, well, if I were going to sell my house, I would do it myself because, I'm licensed for that. Uh, so biggest thing I could tell you to start off with, if you're on the do not call list, they shouldn't be calling you. And so if they are calling you and you are on the do not call list, make sure that they are aware that you're on the do not call list, and that you can report that. The second thing is most of the time, those are people that are cold calling, and it could be a local agent themselves, whether it's somebody just getting started or somebody that's been in the industry 15 years, or it could be somebody that's hired an internal salesperson to make those calls for them. And the reason that we do that is because there's not always that connection, right? We have a limited number of people that we can meet. And so this expands that. This allows us to meet more people. And so 98% of the time, there's no harm intended, right? We're literally just looking for homes for our clients because the inventory in this market is so insanely low, that we really are just trying to find homes for clients. Every now and then, though, you get a dirty salesperson, right? There's people in every single industry, and so stand your ground and tell them you're not interested, and don't be afraid to hang up where you sit at.
Right. Yeah. And really great point about the phone calls and the do not call list and just kind of understanding. And I think, it speaks to realtors like you and the several others that we have that are connected with us because they see the value in community knowing them instead of just calling up out of the blue and randomly and, trying to build the relationships. They leverage their networks and they do it in such a way that people start knowing you personally. And that makes it way different when they get the call from you. So, random things that I'm going to throw at you. Here's a myth that's out there, and that's real estate agents are rolling in the money. So, tell me about all that money that you're rolling in, Jessica.
Oh, so much. Let's see. I am actually this is my yacht that I'm on. No, I am not rolling in money. I am a typical everyday Joe. My kid goes to daycare, and there are months where I'm like, how am I going to make this meet? I don't know how I'm going to pay the daycare bill, and they're going to send my kid home, and I'm not going to be able to sell a house.
Right.
I'm an everyday person, right? I don't have an exorbitant amount of money. I don't have 17 rental properties underneath me, right? I'm not like Trump, and I don't have a whole portfolio or anything like that. And so the biggest thing is they see the commission, right? They see that, oh, this agent's getting 3 to 6% of the sale. But what they don't realize is that I pay fees to my office. I pay fees to Keller Williams International. I pay marketing fees. There are so many different pieces and aspects of that I don't get that whole 3%. By the time everything is said and done, I probably end up taking more around 50% of that. So it's a big difference.
Yeah, and it's like any profession really that has that focus on commission, right? Like your average salaries really only tell a piece of the story. They don't fully capture, what everything else entails that goes into it and what you still have to do to continue doing the business that you are.
And I have to save my own money for taxes. I don't have the government taking money out of my paychecks every month. So I have to remember to save, a small portion of that for taxes too. So
Exactly. Yeah. So you're arguably you even have that additional burden kind of on you of thinking, am I doing this in the right way? And hopefully year end, everything crosses off. But we have another myth that's out there, and that's you may get a better deal if you just go to a listing agent and you buy from them directly. Is that a myth or is that true that someone could get a better deal if they buy directly from a listing agent?
So my concern with that is if you are going directly to a listing agent, their best interests, their fiduciary duties are to the listing. They're to the client that's selling, right? They're not to you. And so who is looking out for your best interest? And common unknown fact is on the buy side, you don't actually pay the commission, the seller does. And so if you can have somebody representing you for free on top of everything, a lot of time it works better in your interest just to have somebody in your corner arguing for you, and protecting you, because like I said, at the end of the day, the listing agent is there to represent their client.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's another one that I also hear sometimes, and that's that you all are essentially paid to take clients from one property to the next. So the more property that a client sees, the more that you're also paid on this.
No, I get paid the same amount whether we see 50 houses or if we see one house. So my goal is to get you in the house that works for you. And if it's not right, we keep looking. And if it is right, I've had clients that it was the first house they saw. I've had clients that it was the first house they saw virtually. They never set foot into it. And they just knew it was right. And so they went after it. And then I've had some that we've seen 50, 60 plus houses. It just depends on the client.
Yeah, for sure. And especially in a market like the one that we're in, is sometimes they are seeing something and it may not be there within the next hour. And so you're constantly having to provide them. Slow down a little bit, of course, with the inventory and everything. But at that point, you were having to show numerous because you didn't know if that was going to be available by the time you got home to try and put in their offer letter, right? Such a scary place to be in. Here's another myth that I'll quickly flash on the screen for us, and that's realtors are just trying to make a sale. You'll lie, you'll even stretch the truth to do so.
Well, so here's a fun fact that not a lot of people know. Realtors are different than real estate agents. And realtors are actually, we pay dues to a National Association of Realtors. NAR is what that's called nationwide. Colorado has one, it's CAR, Colorado Association of Realtors. And what we do, why we do that is they hold us to a higher code of ethics. And part of that is we can't lie or stretch the truth, right? We have to act ethically at all times with our client's best interest. And so, like I said, I'm not looking to just make a sale. I'm looking to make sure that those clients get in the home that works for them and find the right situation that works best for them.
Yeah, and I think along those lines of the ethics and kind of your individual role, because it speaks for even future transactions. There are legal liabilities that you follow, and there are things that are in place that you need to be adhering to, so you're not putting yourself or those that you're representing in a position that is more liable in there. Here's another myth that I'll pull up, and I know there are like a lot that are out there, so we're only highlighting a few things and kind of giving you a spin from Jessica's lens. It's not the end all be all. So if you had a question for Jessica about housing, about real estate, about her being a realtor, anything like that, you can always type it in the chat section so we can pull it. You've heard a little bit about her and where she came from and what she's doing and how long she's been doing it. So now we're trying to kind of go through a series of different thoughts or vibes that we see in the air consistently around this industry, and trying to just debunk those and give a personal lens as well. So another myth that I believe is out there is that you can only show your individual listings or those that are sponsored by your broker. So you mentioned that you've been with Keller Williams. They're located out in Denver. And so are you only able to provide those listings that are there, or?
Yeah, so I can show any house that's in the MLS, and I can show houses that aren't. So if you are driving through your neighborhood one day and you see a for sale by owner, the thing I always ask my clients is let me call them first to make sure that they agree to pay my commission so that there's no arguments after the fact, right? We want to avoid any confrontation prior. But I can take you to that too. I can show you any house that's for sale at any time, regardless of who listed it or who owns that listing.
Yeah, and I would probably say that you do that pretty often too.
Oh yeah.
If when you're trying to adjust it to someone that needs specific things, I can't imagine that everything that someone wants is going to be exactly like it'd be perfect if that happens, right? But I feel like you are researching and you're looking out there to find what's best for that client. So it would make sense that you're looking at others as well.
Yeah.
Here's another one. And this is, man, if this is true, I'm in the wrong place, right? But is your job super easy? So you leave your son in daycare and then you just kind of drive around and you look at these awesome houses. And that's pretty much, it, or is there a little bit more that's required?
There is so much to real estate, and it's from finding clients to finding houses for clients that are so intensive. And I tell everybody it is an incredibly rewarding job with so many incredible highs, right? It's very much like parenting. There's a lot of discipline that has to go into it. And there's, like I said, so much reward that comes with it. But a typical day, I have to lead prospects. So I'm calling friends and family and past clients and seeing if they know anybody that knows anybody. And then additionally, once I have those clients, I am researching and trying to find homes that fit what their criteria are. I'm calling listing agents to find out what good offers are. If I am the listing agent, I'm returning phone calls to buyers agents that are asking me those questions for their buyers. It's a constant. There's always so many different moving pieces. And if you have an easy day in real estate, if you're not doing anything, your paycheck reflects that directly.
Yeah, it takes a lot of initiative and forward thinking and planning. So you're not in that place of next month when you haven't been doing anything, that you're hard pressed. I see with us our Adams 12, one of our school board members, Amira Assad. Thank you for tuning into the broadcast. So I'm going to shift it to just one other myth, and then I'll kind of move into some other thoughts that you might have that you want to share with folks. And this one's going to be a different lens. It's not attacking you or or your line of work. This one is for an individual. So as an individual that is looking to kind of basically, buy or sell, right? So in this case, it's setting your price high to give negotiation room without risk of underselling. Can you speak to this a little bit?
Yeah, totally. So the biggest example I like to use is with like clothing and such, right? And retail stores. If you see a sale sign, immediately there's something that triggers in your brain and you're like, oh, there's a sale. I have to go check this out and find out what deals I can find, right? But if you walk into a store and everything is slightly overpriced, you're going to walk out without purchasing anything.
Yeah.
And the same is true of homes, right? The market out there will tell you how much your house really is worth. And if you have it priced too high, nobody will come and look at it. Nobody will even consider it. Even in times of desperation, we see houses sit on the market for 2-3 weeks, even sometimes a month and a half. And it's because they are overpriced. Whereas if you underprice it, everybody is going to come and everybody's going to want a piece of that pie and everybody is going to want to get that best deal. And so then you create this demand and nobody wants to miss out on it. And then that's where bid wars happen. So typically, if you set it low, you actually end up walking away with more money, netting it at the end, than if you overprice it, you end up almost always netting less than what you originally priced it at.
Okay. So I'm going to flip this around as well then and ask you a secondary question. I know Eric's typed in another question, and anyone else that's tuning in, you can always type them in. We'll get to Eric's question here in a second, because here's another flip side of also what you just shared as well. So the conversation of a sticker shock, approach, and this is way too high. And then this other approach of the product is now so low. Are people, should they be doing it so low and then expecting, someone's going to come in and give me a higher overprice than what I'm listing? Is that the best tactic? Or is there a different approach?
Definitely. So there's an acceptable range, right? If you underprice a house by $100,000, you're not going to end up getting an offer at that $100,000 higher price point. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't matter if you have 100 offers. However, if you underprice it by $5,000 or $10,000 and you get 10 people interested in it, it's very common that you'll surpass that $10,000 gap that you had priced it different at. So yes, underpricing will attract buyers. Lowballing will attract a ton of buyers, but it'll be a waste of your time. You'll get a bunch of offers that you're not interested in, and the high offers won't come in.
Absolutely. Thank you for giving both lenses. I had to throw that in there as soon as I heard that, because I know that some people view both of those. And so it is a balance of trying to find the best in the middle and not doing one extreme over the other. So Eric's question, back to his, and thank you so much for typing this in for us, but it relates to the current housing market and what he believes. What do you see? He's really asking you what you would see the housing market look like in the next 12 to 18 months.
Well, let me go get my crystal ball. Man, if I had one of those. Oh my goodness gracious. Nobody really knows, especially because of COVID. It's become such a weird, crazy, chaotic time. However, if you look at historical data, even with COVID, the trends are still following the same. And so it's very hot in the spring with very, very, very low inventory. Summer is insane. And then it slows down and we get a little bit more inventory, but still short in the fall and winter, right? We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We don't know with inventories, if inventory is going to change at all. We don't know if rates for interest are going to go up at all. There's a lot of talk that they are going to keep going up, and they already have been. So that will affect the number of buyers that are out there. However, in order to be a balanced market, we need 6 months of inventory. So that means for every one house for sale, we have one buyer. We have a half of a month of inventory on the market. And so we just don't have enough. And so that creates that demand. And so all signs point to it's still going to be a crazy market. It's still going to be really hot with not enough inventory. And we're still going to have a lot of demand, maybe even some bid wars still going on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. And for you, Jessica, for hopping in and answering it as best as we can with some of those unpredictable variables that we have. We are, believe it or not, we are like right at our 30 minutes. So I don't want to lose sight of, I know it like flies by like crazy. For folks that are trying to find you, what are some ways that they can connect with you or find out who you are a little bit more than just this broadcast?
Yeah. So my cell phone number is 720-260-4422. I saw you drop it in the chat there too. You can text me, call me at any time. I do have a little kid, so if we are sleeping, just an FYI, I'll get back to you. But that is my cell phone number, so you can always reach out. My email is also jessicapreston@kw.com. You can email me at any time. Fun fact, if you change that @ symbol to a dot, that's my website, so you can go there
that's
too.
funny. Yeah.
And then I am all over social media. So I'm on Facebook. Jessica Preston Realtor is my / area there. And then my link tree has all of my social media. So if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, wherever you are, you can follow me on those channels as well.
And I love that, the realtor that smiles. That's cute. Very fitting as well. So thank you so much to those of you that have tuned in with us in real time or watching this later on. If you had a question that's more specific or more personalized, you didn't get a chance to ask, you can always drop that in the chat later or directly DM the page or reach out to Jessica so she can be able to answer it for you. I hope if you do go out that you guys are very careful because City of Westminster has been doing a great job having their plows out and making sure that our roads are trying to get as clear as possible. But there is a lot of snow that's packed out there. So be very careful if you go out today. Thank you for tuning in. And Jessica, thank you for spending some of the morning with us. It's always so lovely to get to know even more about you than I already do, but just be able to share you with others as well.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Have a great day.